30-point night for Steph Castle off the bench, 32 in this one, but Oklahoma City takes care of a weary Spurs crew in the second half as they race out to a 146-132 win. In the first game back from the rodeo road trip, Dan Weiss back with you here, Spurs Live from our Spurs Live desk as well, the Spurs fall here in their first home game back after the long rodeo road trip. Big night for J-Dub Jalen Williams, a career-high 41. But as we send it back out to Jacob Toby and Sean Elliott, guys, Steph Castle, now one of just 5 Spurs rookies in history to have multiple 30-point games, and both of them have been off the bench.
Well, the flashes are there. Dan, obviously, we mentioned it in this game too. Mitch Johnson. He's been unapologetically aggressive. That's what he said about Steph Castle. And we saw that in this game today.
I just love how he takes the punches and takes the downturns of the season all in stride. Like you look at him, it doesn't look like anything bothers him out there on the court. And he's playing well, he's playing poorly. He looks exactly the same. Just continues to grind. And I thought tonight he made a lot of good decisions. 4 of 10 from three-point line. And really, let's clear that up. Really 4 of 8 because he had 2 heaves there at the end of the first quarter and of the half that were, 47-foot shots that shouldn't really count, but did a great job taking the ball to the basket, getting to the free throw line, shot a nice percentage from the field, rebounded the ball well. I'm forgetting one thing that I talk about all the time when you talk about our guys in the second half. That's when the back-to-backs catch up to you. That's maybe why you saw so many shots not falling for our guys. You guys got in at 1 in the morning or so from Memphis, a game that goes all the way down to the wire. You expend a lot of energy. Then you get back late, and then you turn around and you have an early game the next day. And so eventually it was bound to catch up with our guys.
What do you see moving forward here from this squad as they continue to move without Wembanyama? The young guys continue to get more minutes. What do you sort of feel out the next couple of weeks here? More home games are coming after that 2-game road trip at the end of the week we talked about.
It'd be nice to see De'Aaron Fox continue to grow with our guys, grow together with our guys. He's obviously already an established player, and the growth of Steph Castle, just to continue to see him skyrocket.
All right, Dan Weiss, we send it back to you. I was very curious to see what the standings are from this poll that we talked about with the movies.
Yeah, well, I figured the whole thing's rigged because apparently the truck won, and they're the ones controlling it.
What?
So take a look here. White man can't jump from the truck, 34%. Hustle, 31%. Hoosiers, 27%. And very underrated blue chip springing up the rear. Sean, we got hosed in this one. I will say that you had better acting chops than both Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Hardaway, though.
Yeah, very astute observation there, Dan. We both got hosed there. What? Hoosiers doesn't finish in the top two? It means I'm the second loser.
Yeah, I know, which I guess is only better than the first loser, me. So we'll see you guys on Tuesday night as Oscar night belongs to the truck when it comes to basketball movies. The white man can't jump. The Spurs fall in this one. 146-132 as we'll continue Spurs Live on the other side. Another big night tonight for Steph Castle. Steph Castle didn't need to jump on this one. Just a little jump back off the crossover. More Spurs Live, and we continue after this. Good to be back home, but unfortunately the Spurs, coming off the second night of a back-to-back, ran out of steam in the second half, fall to the Oklahoma City Thunder, 146-132 as we continue Spurs Live. Dan Weiss back at our Spurs Live desk, and a big reason for that was, in fact, not really the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He did have 31, but only 9 of those in the second half. But it was J-Dub, Jalen Williams, who finished this with a career high and his first 40-point game of his career. 41 for Jalen Williams to go along with 7 assists and 6 rebounds, 15 of 24 from the field, outside, inside. A lot of tough finishes like this in the fourth quarter as he was getting to his sweet spot and closes the game out tonight for Oklahoma City with his first 40-point effort. De'Aaron Fox, though, he shined out in his first home game in San Antonio. Showed you the note at the start of the telecast. De'Aaron averages better than 26 as a visitor in San Antonio, so you figure he's going to like playing in this building. And he started off hot, knocked down his first couple of three-pointers, and he cruises to a 20-point, 4-rebound, 4-assist effort as he goes 8 of 18 from the field in this one. And he's going to certainly gel, as Sean said, a little bit more with his teammates, particularly here at home, as the Spurs and him get a little bit more acclimated playing at the Frostbank Center. So nice to see De'Aaron Fox come back and have a good home debut in San Antonio, as did Jared McLaughlin, got his first points in his home debut as well there at the end. But not enough to stop the high-flying Oklahoma City Thunder, who win it tonight, 146-132. We'll hear from Mitch Johnson on the other side, and we'll preview the game against the Brooklyn Nets coming up on Tuesday. Devin Vassell, one of those 16 first-half threes, a Spurs record. We wrap it up on the other side on FanDuel Sports Network.
4 offensively. He had 7 free throws, and he's aggressive in a lot of aspects, which is what we want to see from him.
On the flip side, down the stretch, what did you see go wrong defensively?
I think we had a little bit of we let our dopper down just a little bit in terms of some of the resistance and the transition, some of the crowds. And not an excuse, but those guys have put together a heck of an effort in the last 2 nights. Lost Julian, we were man down. I rode Fox and Steph pretty hard there in the second half. Maybe I could have got those guys out and got them a quick break, but they did a good job. They're relentless at attacking the paint. SGA and Jalen Williams, those guys, two-headed monster in terms of, imposing themselves and getting into that paint. Thought we did a good job at parts of the game, making them see crowds and finding other people early, but they did do a good job as well of imposing their will in that regard.
Speaking of Julian getting tossed, what did you see on that? Did you see the replay, and what did you think of that decision?
And it happens so much now in our game. I don't know. It feels like the rule has changed maybe, but when people are aggressive, there's a lot of these incidental elbows or contact. I don't really know who's at fault, to be honest, but it just looked like that was what initiated it, and then there was some response on both ends. I didn't think much of it, and then, people were just protecting their guys and whatnot, but I didn't think it was anything intentional and I didn't look at the scrum to see if they should have got thrown out or not. But the initial basketball play I did see, and just looked like Kenrich Williams was being aggressive and Julian was opening up. And I don't know if that's an offensive foul now, or I don't know where that line is of what space you're allowed.
This really tough stretch that you guys have been in over the past couple of weeks, the way games are getting away at the end, does that remind you at all to the way they did during your tough stretches last year? And is there any common thread between those, or do you see it as a completely different situation?
I don't think tonight felt like that as much of, I think we got wore down by a very, very good team. Second night of a back-to-back last night was hard fought. Like I said, a couple of those guys had very long stints in that fourth quarter, or late in the third quarter. Julian went down, we were man down. I think there was a level also of Jeremy was actually out for a second too, getting looked at. I thought they fought their butts off. Again, OKC's probably saying the same thing about us. They made a lot of shots. We made a lot of shots. And at some point, we stopped scoring a little bit, and they kind of maintained it. And then I think that's where, you have to put your energy in getting the stops and getting the rebounds and not turning the ball over, and not the makes. The makes and misses come and go. That other stuff is what compound runs.
Mitch Johnson after the game with some thoughts, and I think, alluding to the fact that, second night of a back-to-back, we heard Sean talk about that. That kind of played its role there in the second half where, again, Spurs just could not miss in the first half. 16 three-pointers, and then the rotation guys didn't make a single three in the second half. Sandro Momokele-Shvili, Malachi Branham each hit one there after they were subbed in, but it's odd to see a team go from making 16 threes to 0 threes in the second half. Those 16 threes certainly were key to helping the Spurs hang with Oklahoma City in the first half. Spurs will wrap up this little mini 2-game homestand on Tuesday night, and they'll take on the Brooklyn Nets for the second and final time this season. Spurs beat the Nets a couple days after Christmas in Brooklyn. Nets at 21-39, 12th in the Eastern Conference. They did just get Cam Thomas back from a hamstring injury. He missed almost 2 months of the regular season, played on Friday night, didn't play on Saturday night. They've lost their last 4. But you got a scorer like Thomas, Cam Johnson still with the roster. They've got some young pieces that they're working into. But obviously they've been playing some good basketball as of late. Should present a challenge for the Spurs, who will look to finish this homestand with a split before heading on the road to Sacramento and Minnesota. We'll get you started with Spurs Live beginning at 7 o'clock, and then tip time 7:30 right back here on FanDuel Sports Network Tuesday night. Spurs and the Brooklyn Nets. Tonight, 32 for Steph Castle, his second 30-point game off the bench, 20 for De'Aaron Fox. But a career night for J-Dub. Jalen Williams, 41 points, 31 for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Spurs fall by 14, 146-132. For Jacob Toby, Sean Elliott, our entire crew, I'm Dan Weiss saying so long. We'll talk to you Tuesday night. Have a great night, everybody.
San Antonio. Nance at the board. Champagnie picks it up, gives it to Castle, finds a cutting. Sohan with the hammer. And now we got a scuffle at center court. Kenrich Williams and Julian Champagnie. And now Dort mixing it up with Sohan. And they're getting SGA and Kenrich Williams out of there. And the award for best drama goes to our officials, James Williams, Kevin Cutler, Matt Kaleo will have to look. Yeah, it looked like Champagnie got Williams with an elbow. And that's where the tussle started. Champagnie caught Williams there slightly with the elbow. Williams takes exception. And that's where they get tied up. And you see there, can't really tell. Doesn't look like punches were thrown. Just a lot of collar grabbing. And then Sohan grabbing Dort by the jersey.
Well, it's going to take some time to sort through who was involved in it versus who was trying to dissolve the issue.
You would think initially there would be at least offsetting technicals by Kenrich Williams. And crowd booing, seeing the replay. They don't think that Champagnie really caught enough of Kenrich Williams for him to take exception the way that he did.
Well, regardless of how much contact might have happened at that point, there was certainly exception taking. And those two going at it right away. And this can take some time to go through player by player because both teams right on top of one another.
Nobody backing down. Sohan and Dort face to face. Again, this is the third and final meeting between these two teams. They've split their games at a game apiece. Get out of there, Mac Leo. Williams with the particulars.
After review, it has been determined that fighting technicals will be assessed to Champagnie and Williams. Both players will be ejected from the game. Following that, there is a technical foul on Lou Dort. He has also been ejected from the game. There is a technical foul on Jeremy Sohan. All of these technicals will offset. The basket counts. It'll be Oklahoma City ball on the baseline where they can run the inline.
Wow. So both Julian Champagnie and Kenrich Williams there ejected. They also announced that Lou Dort picked up a technical and has been ejected from the game. And Jeremy Sohan picked up a technical but remains in the ball game. And Dort being escorted out right now and made eye contact with a smiling Jeremy Sohan. And so
impactful in this ball game. And of course, the elbow that started it right here coming through. Kenrich Williams taking the contact.